The most picture-perfect store of the early 2000s you ever did see. Do you remember Dry Ice? No, not the chemical. This was a store and I was completely obsessed with it as a kid. The very first Dry Ice was a kiosk in the mall. It opened in St. Louis, Missouri in fall of 1999. The store was founded by Stephen Thomas, Rick Bradshaw, and John O'Haler. The three founders were previously executives at Edison Brothers, which seems to be a company that owned mostly men's clothing stores. So they went from men's clothing to kitschy teen room decor, and they funded the first 8 stores themselves with some small investors. Dry Ice Online was their website, which is where you're seeing most of these photos from. I used the Wayback Machine to find them because this photo is the only photo that exists on the internet of the store that I could possibly find. I looked everywhere. If your dad was one of the guys who took pictures of everything, including stores in the mall, maybe you have a photo of this and you should upload it to the Internet Archive. When I saw this photo, as my childhood best friend put it, it's a lot less magical than I remember. They sold furniture, decor, and trinkets, and everything was very, very early 2000s coded, and their target demographic was preteen and teen girls. Some of the items they sold included these little sand animals. Do you remember these from the 90s and the 2000s? I still have my little lizard named Rainbow. They had a bunch of different kinds of these. They sold lava lamps, beaded door curtains, bed canopies, those pillows with the like fuzzy trim border, this big neon palm tree lamp and other fun lamps, CD cases, Paul Frank merch. Remember Paul Frank? They had a small selection of some t-shirts and shoes and even some cosmetics and body care items, charms and charm bracelets as well. And in this picture, it looks like these are those storage containers I saw a lot in the early 2000s. I couldn't find another picture, but they're like a flimsy see-through colorful plastic that has like a metal frame, and then there was a little hole because it was like a storage box you would put on shelves or in drawers, and the little hole was so you could like pull the little bin out. Does anyone else know what I'm talking about? That's what these look like. And the one thing I know I got from Dry Ice was this squishy wrist rest, like for when you're using a computer, and it was a clear koala with little colorful beads inside. This is like a similar picture that I could find of squishy wrist rests, and I just wanted it because it was squishy and cute. Of course. I did find a comment from a previous Dry Ice employee on Reddit. Their username is Very Spicy Ramen. They said they used to use fax machines to correspond with corporate, which I think is so funny and really dates the store. Apparently, people were always calling the store asking if they sold actual dry ice. They did not. And when they were closing down around Christmas time, a bunch of people insisted that if everything was 90% off plus an extra 10% off, what a deal by the way, then it should be free. The math ain't mathin'. They made $10 million in 2002 and had 40 stores in 2004. Here are some of the states they had stores. They definitely had more than this because I grew up in Texas and we had one there. Their intent was, of course, to grow and expand, and they intended to have 400 stores and malls across the US, but that didn't quite pan out. They started having financial problems and filed for bankruptcy in the summer of 2005 and ended up closing down all their stores by the end of that year. Do you miss this store? Do you wish they would come back? I think it would be so cool to see them come back. But the fact that they were selling like a very basic futon for $500 in 2003 is crazy. Like, I couldn't imagine how expensive that store would be today, but to have like actual early 2000s stuff again would be amazing. If you love all things nostalgic, be sure to subscribe. You can also check out my YouTube Shorts page and Blue Sky and TikTok if it's still around. Links will all be in the description down below, and I'll have a new video for you guys very soon.